Hey guys, here's a little introduction on how to use a few exercises on our Cybex Bravo cable machine. Now, we could have gone for a traditional Life Fitness cable machine, but there's a few things that this does that they don't, so we went for the bigger and better investment to give you some better equipment. Now, one of the main things about this cable machine is the fact that it has a kind of arm in the middle. Now, what you do is you raise it up, hold the pin out to adjust it to wherever you want, height-wise. Now, this is a little bit low for me, so for the exercise I'm about to do, so I'm just going to pull this up, bring it up, probably about there. Now, what I'm also going to do is pull the pin out just behind the pad to bring the pad forward a bit. This is going to allow me to get a nice stretch through the chest when I do the exercise. We can also move and adjust these. Now, when you're performing an exercise, you really want to be able to get the right line of tension. When you do like a cable press or a cable fly machine, and you're trying to hit your chest muscles, if the tension is coming from too wide a position, you have to kind of come really far forward, really lean in, and the tension kind of doesn't really come in until you sort of bring your arms further forward. Whereas if you've got the line of tension directly behind you, you've got tension all the way through the range of motion, which is going to help, train your chest muscles and develop your muscles a lot better. And plus, when you are keeping yourself nice and stable, this thing is going to stop me moving back, so I'm not having to use my core, I'm not having to kind of lean in and kind of expend other energy, so I can kind of just sit nicely into the movement, set up the right tension through the machine. I can just work through a nice steady range, and apparently the science behind this is it actually trains your muscles 30% harder, which is going to give you 30% better results. So let's show you how to do the first exercise. So you just select your weight, move this, adjust it to where you like. I've just gone for a traditional handle. I've got that set to the smallest length because I want to be able to get a really good stretch. So I'm just going to take one handle, bring it forward, turn around, get the second one. I'm bringing it in close to my body, so I'm not putting pressure through my shoulders. I'm just going to get into position. I'm going to bring my feet forward ever so slightly, and I'm going to bring my feet together. So that's going to create a bit more instability through my body, which is actually going to make my chest muscles work a little bit harder. I'm going to bring my hands out to the side. I'm going to get a good stretch through the chest now. And as you can see, that line of tension now is coming straight back behind me. That's now putting some insane tension through the chest. I've gone for a kind of thumb round grip for this. Some people like kind of thumb over suicide, but I don't think it really makes much difference when you're not using a bar. So I'm just going to come into position. I'm going to lock my traps down. I'm going to kind of keep my hips back. I'm going to press from here, slowly control back. And this is now training chest, a little bit on the shoulders, a little bit on the tricep, and that line of tension is absolutely beautiful. And you can then start to load up much heavier weights than what you would do if you'd done a traditional kind of wide cable fly. Now, speaking of flies, obviously that's a press, isn't it? Now, with a fly, what we can do is change the position to kind of where we want. So if I think about where my arms are going to come to, that's probably about right, so I probably want it as wide as it'll go. You can then raise it up in line with your chest. One more. About there. I'm just going to take this forward a bit. So now everything's set up. Again, I'm going to bring this in. Bring the weight in to start with, feet forward ever so slightly, knees soft, bring the arms forward, that's the starting position. And now you can see I've got a nice wide fly. I'm going to squeeze in here, oh that feels nice. I'm coming wide, that line of tension now straight back. It's not kind of pulling me outwards, it's pulling me backwards. That's what you want, yeah? And that feels lovely. Normally with flies you'll kind of go a little bit lighter with the weight to kind of work on form. Will really get the squeeze. You can kind of work to whatever angle you want. So if you're trying to work more kind of upper chest, some people like to go low and kind of bring it in, maybe kind of go little fingers together at the top end. So you kind of make sure you cut out any anterior delt. Some people kind of like to kind of, start higher and pull it low, kind of don't really need to do it on machine. If you kind of want to hit a little bit lower, you can go a little bit higher, but if you bring your feet forward, that's going to change the angle of your body, so that when you then pull forward, yeah, that's now going to be pulling downwards and kind of hitting that lower chest with the fly. Next exercise is a reverse fly. This is going to be hitting posterior delts. Now, a lot of people, when they do posterior delts, tend to kind of bring their arms straight back, which is fine. There are some different variations where you can kind of start higher and kind of pull backwards and downwards at the same time. That's kind of one of my favorites. But let's just kind of keep it really, really simple. If you're using a kind of rear fly machine, they're quite good as well, but for me personally, it's much harder. You get a much better pump, much better feel if you actually use this machine. Now, you tend to feel you're kind of quite straight, but you'd be surprised how much you cheat. So just by putting your chest against this pad, it'll actually keep you a little bit more still than you kind of thought was possible. And then as you're bringing your arms out, it's going to really burn. So to get in position, we're now going to start from all the way on the inside. Again, the benefit of this cable machine is it allows you to get that line of tension that you need to more specifically hit the muscle you're trying to hit. I'm going to pull that all the way in this side as well. I'm going to take off the handles because we don't need them for this exercise, depending on which muscle you're trying to hit. Let's just get this out of the way. It's always nice to put your cables and weights back to where you found them, guys. Now, you definitely don't want to use 25 kilos on this exercise. I'll just put 5. Just a demo. Now, with this one, you're gonna just hold on to the ball, one side and the other. You're gonna put your chest against the pad, squeeze back, squeeze down, come forward. As you come forward, you're not going to let your hands cross over. Yeah, that's going to keep tension through the muscle. So just as your kind of thumbs just gently kiss, you're going to squeeze back out again. Really focus on that squeeze. I've got my feet close together because again, I prefer that instability. I just find it hits the muscle a little bit harder. If you kind of go wide and stable, yeah, okay, you might be able to get a heavier weight, but for these type of exercises, you don't need to lift heavy. It's not about that. It's about hitting the muscle correctly, so you get a better workout through the muscle. So again, squeeze, forward, try and keep the arms straight when you do this one. You're not trying to bend the elbows, you're not trying to kind of flare out. And it's almost kind of like you want to do like an arc in action. Imagine your kind of shoulders come out of the joint and you're kind of doing a big semicircle away from your body. And as you can see, that gives a nice squeeze at the back. Feels quite nice to kind of squeeze down as well as you do it. But that is 3 exercises you can do on this Cybex Bravo cable machine.